Okay, well, I want to test out a little theory here on this joint. It's the idea is for turning, and I put a heim joint inside a tube with the bolt going across, and you'll see on these marks here, hopefully that's our range. So it'll twist, see, like that, and coming back. See, you can see the ball turn there, so we only get in that one rotation direction. There's nothing moving in and out because of the bolt. So that's our simple movement, and there's a lot of resistance with this plastic in here. Now you also see that it's it's polycarbonate, but I was hoping to use this for, well, obviously for demonstration, but it's actually an impact resistant. But the I think it's the what do you call it? Oh yeah, the Loctite. I guess it puts out some fumes, and the Loctite from the set screw just started actually cracking it on the outside, but it's getting pretty bad. Try the other side too here, and you can see the red Loctite will do it. Actually, the blue Loctite didn't seem to, but we're not going to use this. So, and you can see our size, and we're going to try and break this now and see how much force it takes to break it. So, let's lock it up in here. There. Now we got a spring scale here, and this one goes up to 50 pounds. So we'll give a go, and if it breaks in 50 pounds, we know it's no good. If it's more than that, well, we're pretty good. So let's hook onto that and see if we can break her. Why don't you come around this side so we can see the scale. You can see this is the kilogram side, but there is on the other side is our pound scale, so we can figure it out. So, all right. I hope I don't hit myself on the way back here when it breaks. Make sure the vices are locked down. Okay. And here we go. You see that tight? Good. We're up to about 15, 16, 17, 18. Well, that went up to 50 pounds. Wow, didn't break it. So even, that's not too bad. All right, let's try another one. Should cut off now. Okay, now we're moving on to polyethylene. This is a little bit heavier. The other one was 80 grams. This is 110. I went a little mark up here too. You can see there's a little resistance. It's not too bad this way. The idea being, you know, the polyethylene is actually almost like a lubricant. It's very slippery, and it does turn fairly easily. So, okay, now let's actually see if we can break it. I don't think this one will be as. Actually, I think this one's a lot stronger than the other, but. So I think this should do the scale pretty easily. So let's see how it bends. I should bend a lot more. For some reason, polyethylene is a lot more flexible. Same thing, this is supposed to be high impact resistant. Wow, we're up to 17 grams, pounds, no, kilograms. All right. 21, 22. There's 25 or 50, but look at the bolt. It's all just bending around it. Still up about, there's 50 again. Bam! That slipped. I think it might have slipped out.
Yep.
Or did it? Let's take a look at the back side of this. It's really distorted. Well, it's definitely a lot more flexible. You can even see the indents from the threads against the plastic. Well, we know it won't break. It'll just bend. Okay, I think we're going to move on to the next one now. All right. Okay, this is one we just tested. I wanted to show you the thicknesses on this. This was originally, the outside diameter still is about 1 inch. And then you can see that this is a pretty tight one. It's a ½ inch inside. But I had to, bore it out to the, or ream it out to basically 3/4. So that's why we lost all our strength. But even then, we lost where it was actually bolted, because that's the weak point there. It does extend it back a little bit to the edge for the aluminum dowel, but it didn't seem to matter that on that. It was just where we made the weak point. Okay, so now we're moving on to our next one. It's the same type. It's polyethylene, a little heavier. This is 178 grams per foot. These are all 1 foot lengths. And you can see the same thing here. The inside, another ½ inch size. Thereabouts. And then on the other end here, we had to bore it out or ream it out to the 3/4. So let's put this in the vise and see what we come up with. Okay, same thing, rotates nice and easy. Hopefully this time the spring won't let go. What happened the last time is the hook ended up stretching. All right, let's give it a go again. Now this is about halfway, 25 or so pounds. This is 20 kilograms. There's 50 pounds or 25 kilograms. Hold it for a couple seconds here. See how it does it going back. Well, it certainly stayed bent, but we're not too much flex on that. Although, yeah, it definitely made a difference now. It's a lot easier to turn. Stretch the hole inside. You can actually see it wobble now. This was all reamed out to exact sizes. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Okay, moving up to the next size. Polyethylene again, 245 grams or so. And here's our movement. That one's pretty tight. Okay. Now let's, our diameters again. Had to bore it out again. This was, looks like 5/8. And our outside is, it's like 330, what's that? Well, whatever. They basically, yeah, 3 and a, oh, I went to millimeter, what the hell? Hold on. That's why. Okay, 1.5 inches. All right, let's try it out in the vise again. And on our scale. All right. And there's 50 pounds. Hardly any deflection. Maybe a little easier to move, but not, yeah, it's not about the same. So that's probably, although of course we have a little bit of a, well, I think it went back. Looks pretty straight. All right, good enough. Let's move on to the next one. Moving on to Delrin. Everybody likes Delrin. Well, it is very strong, but it's also a lot heavier. So this one is about the same size as the polycarbonate, but it's 173 grams compared to only 80 grams of the polycarbonate. So let's see, this one is actually 1 inch, I think, was outside.
Yep.
And the inside was, looks like about the ½ inch again, but have to be reamed out to the 3/4 inch size for our dowel. Okay, let's give a pull on it. By the way, that's what happens when the hook itself gets enlarged and whacks you in the other finger and hand, so let's don't do that again. Make sure we're good and tight there. Okay, pulling on. There is 50. Pretty good so far. All right, let's let her up. Went right back. I don't really see any movement on that. Yeah, it seems to turn about the same as it started with. So I think we've got a winner on that, except our weight. Well, let's move on to the next one. Actually, the next Delrin is a little bit thicker, so hopefully even tighter. Okay, moving on to our last one. This is the heavier Delrin, especially heavier at 243 grams, but it's on the outside. That inch and a half? Okay. Actually, probably inch and a quarter. Looks like inch and a quarter. All right, and I think this one was actually, no, it looks like about 5/8. Yeah, about 5/8. But anyways, we had to ream it out to our 3/4, and we'll give that a touch. On our turning action here, yep, it's actually pretty good. All right, and here we go. There's 50 pounds. About the same, no, I wouldn't say the same deflection, but it's certainly not much at all. Okay, that's pretty, it's been a long enough test. Turning, just the same, no change. Okay, we'll summarize next. Now this is our summary, and actually we'll start with the actual joint itself. This is a Heim joint, or a rod end. A lot of times they're called rod ends. It's just a standard one. It's a 1/4 inch inside, outside, whatever. And, well, actually this size here is the 3/4. That's why we needed to make these tubes at 3/4. Also, this has been turned just a little bit. It's supposed to be 3/4 inch stock, but it's, just needed a little tweaking.
Aluminum?
It's all aluminum. That's what they use in their normal joints for doll production. So we try, the idea is to just move on to the end here. So all right. Well, let's go on to our plastics. Starting with the worst one, really.
Yeah.
We started with this polyethylene. It's pretty close to the other one. It had a little bit of thickness, but we had to modify it to fit the joint in there, and obviously we can see it bent pretty good. Even at 50 pounds, it was bending pretty good before that. And now the next one was a little bit thicker. It did bend a little bit. It's still a little bit of a roll to it. It gets stuck, but it's still pretty good at that point. Obviously, you can bend this pretty good, and it'll bounce back to some degree. Obviously, now the next one is about the same weight as Delrin, but it's also a lot thicker, a lot bigger, heavier, but it worked pretty well. Now the Delrin, obviously that one would work really well, but it's very heavy. And the other disadvantage to Delrin is it's pretty expensive too, and even that had a little bit of a roll to it, I guess. But all right, now this one, it's the same size as our polycarbonate, and I would say this is a real winner too. This one you could use, but same thing, it's very heavy. In fact, it's double the weight of the polycarbonate. Actually, more than double. Now, obviously, the real disadvantage to the polycarbonate is it crazes when you get the red Loctite against it. Now, it looks like that the blue Loctite, that actually worked pretty well, but that's only for locking down our set screw. You actually probably don't even need to do that because this is not going to see any real action other than just twisting there. And that's pretty free, as you can see. So I think for the overall cost, weight, and strength, so far, I think the polycarbonate is the actual winner. Thank you.